to another Cuppa with Kaci. And today we are working on a commission piece that I have done for a dear friend of mine's business. So she has given me permission to upload the process video, which I'm very grateful for because I'm really happy with how this piece came out. And especially since I haven't done digital art in such a long time, so I was quite pleased with this. It took me a little while to get the pose exact, but I got there in the end, and I think it looks much better with what I finished with and ended up with at the end instead of what I started with here. I struggled a lot with that hand and that arm, trying to get the perspective right, and I got there in the end. I'm quite happy about that. So the piece itself is a sort of logo image for my friend's business, like I said. She is a face painter. She is incredible. I will link her Facebook below just in case, you need a face painter for an event or something in South Australia. She's incredibly talented, and her face paint work is so pretty and makes me wish I knew how to face paint, because it's incredible how different face painting is from like painting on paper. It's got many different techniques, and yeah, it's different and it's difficult, and she does an incredible job at it. So I actually designed her old logo as well, so this is sort of like a revamp, fresh piece for I guess coming back to work after lockdown and not being able to do any work. So she was like, I want to refresh my image. So that's what we were working on together. So throughout this piece, you'll see me edit a few small sections, like where the hands are, the eyes, the makeup, the size of the nose, the smile. That's us working together to get the piece exactly how she wants it, because obviously it's for her business. So I wanted the finished product to be what she wanted it to be. That's going to be on her business cards and whatnot. So it needs to be perfect. So, yeah. Normally with commission pieces, I would send a sketch and they would agree or ask for some changes with the sketch, and then I would line and color and whatnot and call it a day. But with this one, I knew it was for something quite important, so it was for her business, so I was willing to do a few extra changes than I normally would. So that's why there's so many little changes that happen. You'll actually see them shortly. Lots of little tiny details get changed until it's just right, and then I go in with the shading, because I wanted to make sure everything was perfect before I shaded, because shading's really hard to change once you've done it. So yeah, there's that. Now, I was using a few reference images that she sent through, like the paintbrush she uses, the paint pan, I think she called it a cake, the cake that she uses, and then her new uniform top that she's bought. I added that to the piece as well. So it was, it's basically an exact image of her when she's working, which is kind of cool, I think, anyway. And yeah, this is where I go with the shading. Now, normally with Procreate, I am a lot more lazy with shading. I will just use a multiply layer and do like a purple grey over the top, but I wanted this one to be my old style of shading with paint tool size. So I struggled a bit at the start trying to get it to work, because my gosh, do I hate Procreate brushes. I hate them so much. I miss my watercolor brush from Paint Tool Sai in the way I can blend and paint with it at the same time. If anyone knows of any Procreate brushes that do that, please link me below, because my gosh, did I have the worst time shading this because of that. Switching between the airbrush and then the smudge tool, and the smudge not making it smudge how I wanted it to. It was so frustrating. I got there in the end, but it was very annoying. I should have done this on my computer and not on Procreate, but I was trying to be, what's the word, diligent with it. I bought an iPad to use Procreate, and I never used Procreate, so I'm trying to make myself use Procreate. But yeah, so there's a few trial and error things that happen with the shading, and I changed the intensity of the skin shading because I just thought it was a bit too dark. And then I'm actually really happy with how the shading came out with the top, though. It does look like fabric folds, so I was pretty happy with that. The smudge tool helped me out there, but everywhere else it was just a curse, I swear. Yeah, so this piece was a sort of simple design in itself, but I wanted to make it pop with the color. Like, that's why I went the extra mile with the shading instead of just using the multiply layer, because again, it's going on a business card, it's going to be used on her Facebook page and the websites and things, and you want the colors to pop off the screen when people are looking at your face, but you don't want it to be blending in almost, I should say, with the background of wherever you're posting this. And so I made sure that I put extra effort into making the colors really work well together, as well as, you know, popping off of that plain background. And as you can see, I'm using a clipping mask to do the shading on the hair. I always do that just because I find hair really difficult to shade. And if you don't know what a clipping mask is, it's basically you have your base color layer and then you have a layer on top which you set to clipping mask, and that means anything you draw on that layer won't go outside of the area of the layer underneath. So I used the base color layer of the hair and then had the clipping mask over the top to do the shading of the gradient and things, so it wouldn't go outside of that, but it's also not editing the base color layer. So if I need to eyedropper that color or change it, it will change the layer above the clipping mask as well. So it's, I don't know, I find it a lot easier to shade that way for a lot of things. I usually do it that way with the eyes, which I believe I'm coloring now in the time-lapse here, and I almost always use a clipping mask for the eyes just because eyes are quite small, and I find that they are one of, if not the most important part of a piece like this. If you get the eyes wrong, then you might as well not even bother with the rest of it, because you're looking at the face and the eyes are the focal point of the face. So you need them to be correct. So I always use a clipping mask just so that I can detail the eyes exactly how I need them to be. I spent a little bit of extra time on the eyes in this one because I was having so much trouble with the smudge tool, but I got there in the end. I'm actually really happy with how they came out. And then I believe I used an overlay layer over the top of the whole thing, set to a clipping mask, so it literally just went over every colour, and went through with white and did some highlights and just kind of gave it a directional light. So top left is usually where I do my light source from, and I just pretty much shaded the left half of the whole thing, well, highlighted the left half of the whole thing just to make it a little less flat. And yeah, I'm really happy with how it came out, and I hope Kira is too. And if you are in the market for a face painter for a children's party or event, you should totally go check them out because she is awesome and her skills are incredible. So I will link her below, and thank you for sticking around for this shorter video, and I will see you next week for another Cuppa with Kaci. And if you have any ideas for what you want to see, just, you know, let me know in the comments and I will read through those and give you what you want to see, instead of just whatever I feel like doing. So thanks again for coming. I hope you enjoyed the video and have an awesome week. Bye!